down, friends, new and old, and welcome to the Roast and Toast podcast. We are your hosts, David, Philip, and normally Jenny.
Normally Jenny.
Jenny is...
Not that Jenny's normal, but...
No,
she's
well,
normally
none of us are. She's
here.
normally here, yes. But Jenny is actually away for assignment this week and next because of, we've heard her tout its praises that and we also have given her applause time and time again for her getting into and, dare I say, starring in a Princess Bride puppet version of it. Me and the girlfriend are going to go support her and go see the show when she goes and does it. But however, she is in the throes of that. She's in hard work at rehearsal. You go, Jenny. We'll take care of the pod while you're away. We've got some fun stuff planned while she is gone. So we will miss her.
And we don't like being just the two of us, Philip. We did it for too long and we're sick of it. So we have an in-studio guest today for the episode. And will be joining us for next week's episode as well. My girlfriend, Nicole, is joining us. Welcome, Nicole.
Welcome back, Nicole.
Thank you. Hello.
What is that? Is that an entire audience cheering as well? My goodness.
I know, I'm wonderful. Yeah. I won't do it as gracefully as Jenny, though.
Yes. Bless you, Jenny. All right. So what have you guys done this week? What's new in your guys' world?
Well, we've been preparing for this episode, actually, really. We've been watching a lot of movies. We ventured all the way to Amsterdam late last week for date night. We went to a little theater up in Amsterdam, which was showing a movie that would ordinarily have Dutch subtitles because it wasn't in English. Would have Dutch subtitles in most of the theaters here, but we found a theater, a little art house cinema that was going to be showing it with English subtitles. So we ventured all the way to Amsterdam, had a fun date.
And they didn't have popcorn.
And they didn't have popcorn.
Because apparently artsy people do not.
A major downside to my European trip was the lack of respect towards popcorn in cinema.
Well, the main theaters like your equivalent to AMC here.
Right.
It's called Pathé. They've got great popcorn. We love the popcorn. But these art house cinemas...
Because my experience in England was that they had it all bagged.
It isn't made fresh, but it is still good. I don't know.
Okay.
I hate to say it. I made popcorn at home tonight, and it was very good.
He didn't make enough.
I didn't make enough. But that's always the case with popcorn, pretty much. But yeah, they didn't have popcorn. And I also went to go see, a few days later, at a different art house cinema in the city where we live, so much closer by us, this whole different cinema. They also didn't have popcorn. I was like, what is this epidemic of not having popcorn? Yeah, it's infuriating and insulting. And
see, when that exists, I think you're given even more of a forgiveness to bring in your own snacks to the movie theater because it's a part of the experience. Why even go to the theater? That's half of the experience is the snacking.
I considered it, So the main theater, the AMC equivalent, is like a block away from this theater, and I had a bit of time, and I was like, "What if they don't have popcorn? Should I make a reservation for free because I have a membership? Sure. Make a reservation, go in, buy popcorn, come back out, and take that popcorn to this other movie theater, just in case." But then I was like, "But maybe they do have popcorn." And then by the time I was there, I was like, I should have done it. I should have given it a try. And if they made me throw it away, you know what? Screw them.
He would have eaten it all in front of him as a form of protest.
Yes, absolutely. Yeah. Well, I'm glad that you are finding your own popcorn perks that you can bring to the movies and you're preparing for future endeavors out there. Speaking of Jenny, funny enough, unplanned, unprompted, unbeknownst to either me or Jenny, we ran into each other this past weekend. We were going to an Arizona staple of favoritism, of a dear and near place that I love. It's called the Arizona Renaissance Festival. A few places nationwide. I know that they also visit New York. I know that they also visit California, different versions and iterations of it. And the Arizona one is like for about 2 months, 2 months worth of weekends that they go rain or shine. And then they put on a great show. Tickets are great. It was me, my sister, the girlfriend, Sora. Shout out to a friend of the podcast, my girlfriend. And we all went.
Friend of the podcast,
yes. And so we went to go see the show. I introduced, it was Sora's first time. She saw a bunch of favorites. And who would I walk into other than Jennie Reiner herself? And I just plopped my merry ass right in front of her, and I just looked at her. And she at first, she didn't know it was me because I was a little dolled up in a little bit something else. And I sat down, and like she was just trying to avoid, like she was just like kind of like saw somebody staring directly at her, like but just the knees because we're in like a benching area, and she was a little worried. And then all of a sudden she like gave it a full up down, and then she's like, "Oh, what the freak are you doing here?" And so it was lovely. She was with a group. So we didn't spend the rest of the day together. She had her boyfriend, friend of the podcast, her boyfriend. It was a fantastic coincidence. It was lovely to meet her out in the wild. She was so happy. She had a little dragon. I'm sure we'll talk about it next time we see her around.
She looked so
maybe
so
one
happy.
day we'll run into each other randomly, Philip.
Maybe, perhaps, if fortune favors us. All right. Speaking of fortune, let's go find out whose fortunes are going to be changed in the next portion of the episode. Boom. It's the Oscar Spectacular version number 4. This is like I think that this is our first. Remind me if I'm wrong, David. Actually, it might be Mother's Day, but this is our first thing that we did annually. Am I right, or is it Mother's Day?
Yeah, I mean, it's just slightly before Mother's Day, yeah.
Yeah, so I think it's got to
like
be...
It happens before, so it must have been.
Yeah, this is our first annual episode that we ever did, and it's
actually, no, it's got to be the Super Bowl, actually. Which was our first ever episode.
Yeah, it has to be. Preview. Never mind. You are right. So anyways, all right. But still a staple, a yearly reoccurrence.
Makes no matter.
A yearly
We spend more of the year talking about movies than about football. So
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. It is certainly a reoccurring theme with the podcast, as all three of us, me, you, Jennie, of course, all enjoy cinema as it is a passion of ours. So the Oscar Spectacular 4, in case you have not joined us in previous iterations, let's give you a slight rundown of how we do this, how we prep you for the Oscars. There's not enough time in the day for us to go through all the nominations, even though they are all deserving in all the awards. So we're just going to hit 5 of our favorite, including 4 big ones, and then just our favorite is Best Animated Film. To get us started, we are going to recap what happened last year and where they were in the odds leading up to the closing of the beginning of the show for right before the 2023 Oscars. So, for Best Picture, Everything Everywhere All at Once, of course, won, and it was at minus 20 to 1 odds, meaning you had to bet $20 to win $1. It was a heavy favorite at the time, and it came through. Best Director was Daniel Kwan and Daniel Scheinert, again, for Everything Everywhere All at Once, minus 20 to 1 themselves, again, another heavy favorite. We get to Best Actor with Brendan Fraser, the Fraser Renaissance, or what was it called, David?
The Renaissance.
The Renaissance, thank you very much. I knew it was something. This was one of our lower odds. It was at minus 2.78 to 1, meaning you had to bet $2.78 to win $1. So it was only a slight favorite, but he still came through for us. Best Actress was Michelle Yeoh. She finalized as a slight favorite at $2.50, meaning $2.50 to win $1. Best Supporting Actor was a heavy favorite with Ki-Hye Kwan for Everything Everywhere All at Once at minus 100 to 1. You had to bet $100 to win just one little dollar. He was so favored in that one, and of course, a very deserving actor. And then, of course, Best Supporting Actress was Jamie Lee Curtis. Our one surprise, according to the odds of the night, at plus $1.10 to win 1. So you won $1.10 for every dollar you bet. Okay. So
that one was a strange one.
I think it was between her and Angela Bassett for Wakanda Forever, I believe, were the nominees there. They were head and head, neck and neck right there. So going over the top 5 big nominee categories in reverse order, here's a couple things to keep in mind as we head towards the Oscar Spectacular. In full disclosure, we are recording this episode as of February 26th. And the Oscars this year are March 10th. Things may change, but by now all the votes are in. So a lot of the information is there. They're just still tallying and what have you. Also, the odds gathered are from February 23rd. So again, some favorites might go even further. I doubt that any of the favorites are going to be usurped by an underdog here. They seem pretty staunch in their thing. But just a couple disclaimers as we head into this in case it changes by the time this episode comes out or even as the Oscars begin. So, David, what are our 5 categories that we will be discussing this year?
So we are going to start with Best Director, right? Then we will move on to Best Animated Feature. We're going to be discussing both the leading actor and the leading actress categories, and then we will finish on the big one, Best Picture.
Best Director is up first.
Right, and we have an expert in studio.
Yes, we do.
Nicole is a film student, or was a film student. Has her degree in filmmaking.
I haven't studied in a long time.
That's okay, but she is seeking a master's degree in directing.
Yep.
Very nice. We have
what
very
more
qualified
expertise could we expect?
Yeah. Absolutely. All right. So for us 3, let's go in reverse order as the furthest away from a sure thing to pretty much a sure thing. And Best Director in a Film. We have Justin Triet directing Anatomy of a Fall at plus 34 to 1. Again, that means you bet $1, you get $34 for your troubles if he were to win. So a pretty far off contender there. Next one would be Jonathan Glazer for The Zone of Interest at plus 22 to 1. Next would be Martin Scorsese for Killers of the Flower Moon at plus 22 to 1 as well. Yorgos Lanthimos for Poor Things is plus 18 to 1. And a pretty heavy favorite, Christopher Nolan for Oppenheimer at minus 30 to 1. Again, that means you have to bet $30 to win 1. So pretty much ahead of the crowd. Guys, is there any doubt this year that it's Christopher Nolan's first and going to be walking away with a sure thing? This feels like the surest of all the Oscars this year, that you can bet the entire house on this. Christopher Nolan is winning.
I'd like to see it happen. So this is both the one I would expect to win, as well as the one that I hope will win because it's my favorite movie of the year. Yeah, I think, but there are strong contenders. Martin Scorsese could have done himself a favor, I think, by cutting 20 to 30 minutes of runtime.
But he usually does that.
Yeah, he is very self-indulgent.
The Irishman,
give himself that favor.
Goodfellas, he usually likes his long epics. He earned it with his
producers. Yeah, he earned it with his producers, so now nobody can tell him, not cut it half an hour.
Oh, no,
minutes.
Absolutely
They're just like, oh my God, it's Martin Scorsese. Let's just, 4 hours, yes.
He takes forever to make a movie, let alone to put the movie on screen. He's not cutting off. Ridley Scott's like, I made 4 films in the time that it took Martin Scorsese to make his next one.
I need more time.
Yes, absolutely. So, Nicole, are you in agreement? Christopher Nolan for Oppenheimer is the one that you both think will win and should win?
Yeah, I loved Oppenheimer, but I also really love Yorgos Lanthimos. And I feel like
I agree.
This weird vibe. I don't know. He did such a great job. He does such a great job introducing you to this universe that's completely different to our world that we live in, and you just fully go into it. He does such a good job in the first minutes to introduce you to this new world, and you just go all in. And I don't think that's easy.
I think each of these nominees have an achievement associated with why they were nominated. For instance, Killers of the Flower Moon, I think Martin Scorsese's achievement in this is creating almost like his normal gangster epic in a completely different arena. It feels like a Martin Scorsese film, but of course it is completely different, at least in scene and scope and everything else. Jonathan Glazer is The Zone of Interest and completely normalizing something of utmost evil. Christopher Nolan, I think his achievement in this is creating something that otherwise would be completely boring and putting gravitas, giving real stakes and putting a real through line, and also coming up with the entire idea and at least having a part to play in producing and writing in it. But I would agree with you, Nicole, in that I think if I were to have obviously I would agree with Christopher Nolan is going to win. However, Yorgos Lanthimos for Poor Things, I imagine his achievement in this nomination is that I don't see how somebody writes this and puts this on pen to paper and you read this and he completely creates this world. I find it so incredibly difficult to be like, oh yeah, this is what I'm going to create. You see the most work from him out of all these nominees, in my humble opinion. But you're right, Christopher Nolan is certainly going to win. I think we're all in agreement here. We all think that is a deserved winner, at the very least.
I'd like to contrast two, like, some interesting stylistic choices, or I don't know if stylistic is the right word. I'm not the film student, but between Jonathan Glazer, who did some interesting things with the way he spliced the film together. There's a cut to a red screen halfway through the film. The opening picture is just a black screen with soundscape over the top of it. Christopher Nolan, on the other hand, made some choices with black and white versus color scenes, and there was a clear choice behind it, which we didn't know watching it the first time. We watched it again, and that really came through, and I appreciated it so much more. I think the execution on Christopher Nolan's part is so much cleaner and so much more true to intention than Jonathan Glazer's in Zone of Interest.
You also have to take in consideration budgeting and
of course, it's entirely different
everything. It's
films.
Completely different. But I do think that Jonathan Glazer did not, like, he had great intentions, great ideas, but execution was not great.
I think that all these nominees, amongst the entire, sometimes a lot of these nominated categories, it feels like there's a weak link. None of these feel weak to me, although admittedly, the one best picture that I have not seen that is a glaring omission in my eyes that I will see before the Oscars that I have yet to see is Anatomy of a Fall. I've heard great things about it, so I'm only putting forth what I've heard whenever I talk about that film. But all these feel like completely worthwhile nominations. You can see why they got nominated. It's a incredibly strong field with an incredibly strong favorite, and deservedly so. So one last final fun fact before we move on. Scorsese has earned his 10th nomination in the Best Director category, breaking his tie with two-time award winner Spielberg and making him the most nominated living director. The late Ben-Hur director William Wyler is the only one who surpasses Scorsese, who was nominated 12 times before winning 3 Oscars. Scorsese also has become the oldest directing nominee at 81 years old, with Prizzi's honor director John Huston setting the previous record in 1985 at 79 years old. All right. So Christopher Nolan, congratulations, at least according to us. Next one, Best Animated Film. Let's work our way back from the most under of underdogs to the favorite. Slight favorite, actually, in this case. The animated film Robot Dreams is usually a consensus plus 33 to 1. One more time, you bet $1, you win $33 if that were to come through. Next one, I think the one that is probably one of the 2 most popular nominees in this category, Elemental at plus 28 to 1. Nimona at plus 23 to 1. The Boy and the Heron at plus $1.25 to 1. Meaning you bet $1, you get $1.25 back. And the favorite, the ever so slightly favorite, Spider-Man Across the Spider-Verse at minus 2 to 1, meaning you have to bet $2 to win $1, which again, only a slight favorite. Nicole, have you seen all these films? I know David has a special feeling about The Boy and the Heron, but I didn't know if you've seen Nimona, maybe Robot Dreams. I haven't seen either of those.
I only watched The Boy and the Heron from the animated film, and I loved it, but I only watched that one.
Which is in complete contrast to David. You hated that film.
I didn't hate it. I just didn't get it. You know, it didn't sink in. It didn't break the
Don't you do this back on the podcast. You
I hated the experience of watching it. I hated the experience of watching it. I was so desperate for it to finish. But I can't go back and say that I hated the film. I just I
didn't hate going to the doctor's office. I just hated getting the shot. Is that what you're trying to make a comparison to?
Well, yeah, kind of, because I respect that the doctor is trying to make me better. I respect the work that the doctor's doing. I just didn't enjoy getting the shot. You know, that's the point I'm trying to make.
And in comparison, I was next to him sitting on the seat right on his side crying.
Yeah. Oh. Yeah, like I was just like, what is going on? Anyway, I have seen all these films.
Okay.
And I think that if Nicole had seen all of them, she would still favor the Boy and the Heron. It's just I saw the way she reacted to that. I've seen the way she's reacted to all the other movies we've seen together, which is quite a few now. And I think that would be your favorite. Yeah.
I do love Studio Ghibli movies as well.
But for you, David, your favorite would be Spider-Man?
My favorite was actually, what did you say?
Spider-Man?
No, actually, I didn't enjoy the way, like, obviously Spider-Man was a Marvel, just like the first one. It was, but I didn't like the way it was half of a movie, you know? It's like what we said about Dune, was it last year, 2 years ago? It's not even a complete movie. So it was, that annoys me. The animation style of Spider-Man Across the Spider-Verse is pretty much the same as it was in Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse. And so that's no longer novel, you know? And not that means that it can't win an award for it, but, you know, it doesn't have that same wow factor. I liked Nimona, actually. It was my favorite of the 5 movies. It felt fresh, new. It's a new world. Nothing groundbreaking. It didn't hit me like some animated movies have in the past. But I liked Nimona. I thought it was the unique of the 5. Robot Dreams also is unique, but Robot Dreams was a short. But it was a short film that was made into an hour and 40-minute feature. So the concept was, you know, great for a short. I would like to think that The Boy and the Heron might actually pop this one and win.
It's very close, and it's surprisingly close in my eyes, because especially when I saw Spider-Man Across the Spider-Verse, I thought it was very strong. Candidly, I've only seen Spider-Man and Elemental, and again, quite honestly, Elemental just feels like the honorary Pixar film nominee of the year. There's no reason why it should be here. I can imagine a world where it's not nominated.
I didn't think it was bad. Outrage. A lot of people were like, I think the overwhelming opinion is that it was like not good, but I don't think so. I think it was fine. It was,
to me, it'd be the same as if Lightyear got nominated. It's of that same ilk where it's just completely mediocre. It's nominated. It's graphics, much to your point about Spider-Man. I've seen it all before. It's phenomenal. But it'd be like if Netflix got nominated off of a film just because it has that Netflix look and feel. We're past that, or at least we should be. I want something with more.
Well, and also Disney, thank the heavens. Apparently, I haven't seen this anywhere, but I was told that Disney have come out and said that they're going to be making movies that are more narrative-driven going forward. So they're going back to narrative-driven films. Yeah, hopefully. We hope. Rather than message-driven films, which is what they've been doing for the past few years. And oh my God, aren't we tired of it?
We can dream.
Yes. I can see, speaking of narrative, I can see the narrative where The Boy and the Heron does win. It's a new release of Studio Ghibli. I believe the longtime director has one more film on his plate, but this was a triumphant return for him, who originated from Studio Ghibli, coming back to direct and helm this project. So, and apparently, Robert, there's a lot of tremendous voice actors in English that both of you neglected to see. Mm-hmm. You guys saw it in the original version with English subtitles. Apparently, the English version is quite good and voiced very well. So there's a world where I can see The Boy and the Heron winning, especially given the major negative. I would agree with you on, David, that Spider-Man feels like half a movie. It doesn't feel
it is half a movie. It doesn't the plot doesn't wrap come up. It doesn't wrap up. There's no resolution to the plot. Yeah. So I just have something strong. Like, I'm not against those movies in principle. I just, when it comes to an award, I don't think it deserves those awards because you haven't finished the movie, you know?
I would say that the favorite does feel right. I think that Spider-Man will win. However, if we had a way to tally the votes and see how close it was, it would feel like a very close vote. So let's close here with a fun fact here. Since its creation in 2001, this category has been dominated by Pixar with 11 wins over 22 years. No other studio has come close to this. The next highest number of wins is Walt Disney Animation Studios with 4 victories. There's been 1 win each for DreamWorks Animation, Studio Ghibli, Aardman, Sony Pictures Animation, Netflix Animation, and Nickelodeon movies. So again, Pixar has normally dominated this year, but for every on-again, off-again win that they have, this is obviously more than likely. It would be a very big upset if Elemental were to win. It's probably going to be
Sony's win was the first Spider-Man.
Yes, absolutely. That they can't do the live action Spider-Mans, but goddamn, they can do the animated. Let's do, speaking of a new category, let's do Best Actress. Let's go and move on to this one. So, in reverse order,
I'm very curious to find out who's leading this one because, I have my opinions.
Yes, absolutely. This one,
opinions.
Yeah, oh, as if. That's why he's on the podcast. He's a very opinionated man. All right, so bringing up the rear as we always do. Annette Bening for Niad is at plus 50 to 1. Again, meaning you bet $1, you win $50. Very low on this scale, but always great to be a nominee. Next one would be Carey Mulligan for her role in Maestro at plus 26 to 1. So we're getting a little closer there. Sandra Huller for Anatomy of a Fall is at plus 16 to 1. And coming up at number 2 and just under is Lily Gladstone for Killers of the Flower Moon. She's second in the odds right now at plus $1.75 to 1, meaning you bet $1, you win $1.75, meaning that Emma Stone, yes, Emma Stone for Poor Things is at minus $2.50 to 1. You have to bet $2.50 to win 1. So she's a bigger favorite at this than even Spider-Man is to win in theirs, which I would say feels completely almost out of left field, and dare I say Golden Globes driven. When did the narrative change for Emma Stone to win her second Oscar here as opposed to Lily Gladstone? It felt like it was hers to lose, and she's coming up in second.
I'm shocked, actually. I think that I was going to say coming into this that if Annette Bening, Lily Gladstone, or Sandra Huller won, I'd be happy. Any of those three. Carey Mulligan, I didn't think it was a brilliant performance. I loved it. It didn't feel as impactful or as special as Lily Gladstone, for example. I don't feel like she was really in a leading role either. Emma Stone, I don't think there was a lot that was noteworthy about the performance itself. I thought it was great. I don't think the same challenges were there that they were in Lily Gladstone's performance.
Make that make sense. What do you mean it's great, but you didn't see anything noteworthy? Because for me, what I saw from Emma Stone was I saw a complete life cycle of somebody from birth to end. Now, granted, I can still say all that and say that she had a tremendous performance, a wonderful performance, a brave performance, a pioneering performance,
sure,
and still say that Lily Gladstone should win. But for me, you're saying that there was nothing noteworthy. I would disagree ardently.
I think the legwork in Emma Stone in the character that she plays is in the writing. That's what I think.
You know what I think, and that is one of the reasons why I don't think Emma Stone should win this award, is because all the other movies have so much more weight on the performance of the actors and actresses, and Poor Things, as well as Oppenheimer, have the whole movie backs it up in a way that the narrative says a lot, and it's not all in the actors. Like it's more balanced. And for example, movies like Anatomy of a Fall, or especially that one, Maestro, they're leaning more on acting and like the performing of the actors and actresses, because the script is written for them to bring it to life.
That's very, very well put there, Nicole. So you're saying that Lily Gladstone did more with less, so to say, on what was pen to paper, and someone like Emma Stone, even though it was a tremendous performance, it was somewhat directed there. Just she took directions rather well.
Yeah, and with editing, with script writing, with everything that was already thought from the director and the cinematographer and everybody. Right. So it means, like, for example, it's a great movie as a whole. But I don't think that specifically the performance of the actors, it's that heavy in the movie, like to win this award.
So your favorite would be whom, Nicole?
So I would love for Sandra Huller from Anatomy of a Fall to win. I love that movie. I loved her. But I also think I thought it was going to be Lily Gladstone, it was also wonderful.
I think the best acting was probably done by Sandra Huller of the five. I think that was the best acting. And the movie is really driven by her. Yeah. Like the whole movie is driven by her. So I think that's one of the more challenging roles that we've seen across the board in the acting categories this year. Annette Bening, also great, but I think there's a much bigger split between her and Jodie Foster.
Like, I also think that Niat, she plays this character, and she has like a shift at the end, but she's the same. Like, she just brought this character to life and this personality, this strong personality, but there was no moment where I was like, oh my god, this performance. It was more like the achievement that she was doing and trying and the persistence, but it wasn't in, oh my god, this moment with this actress and like it broke. Like it's something amazing. It was just like she did a great job, but there wasn't a moment where I was like, oh my god, this performance was brilliant.
I think that whenever one thing that can be to a fault from the Oscars, but from time to time works in its favor, is that there's a narrative outside of the actual performance itself.
Of course.
And I think that Lily Gladstone would serve as a historic win. I think that we could look back fondly on that win. I think that it would serve the Academy well. Again, in a very deserving category and a list of nominees. This is a strong nominee list here. I think that Lily Gladstone's performance would age rather well, as opposed to Emma Stone. I think it would honestly just be, it would be like saying Al Pacino, like how we look back on Al Pacino being like, oh yeah, he's an Academy Award winner. Oh, did he win for Godfather? Oh, no. What did he win for? Scent of a Woman. Like Emma Stone, it would just be like, oh, that was her second. She won 2 Oscars. She won for, what did she win for? She won for La La Land. And then what else was it? Oh yeah, Poor Things. I don't
like the comparison to Scent of a Woman. I think that movie's amazing. I think Al Pacino in that movie is amazing.
Wow. See, that most people find that to be his hokiest performance, and I would
really
be of that mindset. Oh yeah.
Goodness gracious.
Yeah, but that's my anyway.
Embrace it. Embrace the hooah.
Not to each their own. So, David, just as a quick recap, your favorite, though, to win this would be Sandra Huller as well for Anatomy of the Fall?
My personal favorite. That's who I'd probably vote for.
That's who you'd pick.
I don't know. That's who I think did the best performance. But I think Lily Gladstone
will win.
Okay. That would be my prediction. Yes, I hope it's Lily Gladstone. I do. Yeah. Like we can't. I don't think we need to necessarily ignore the social impact behind that choice.
Yeah, it's not just that.
Yeah, the first Native American woman ever to be nominated for Best Actress is crazy. I think that would be a cool thing to see in history, and I also think she's deserving of it. So.
I would say out of the list, Lily Gladstone takes both, again, with the asterisk, I have not seen Anatomy of a Fall. All right, one last fun fact before we move along. Emma Stone not only stars in Yorgos Lanthimos' Poor Things as a woman brought back to life by a scientist, but the actress also serves as a producer on the film, alongside the director Ed Guiney and Andrew Lowe. With a nomination in both categories, Stone now follows in Frances McDormand's footsteps as the second woman to be nominated for acting and Best Picture for the same film. McDormand was nominated, as we remember, in 2020 and won for Nomadland in both categories.
Didn't we love that, Philip?
Ooh, we had thoughts. All right, next one will be Best Actor. Best Actor. I think that this one could be pretty quick here. We've got Coleman Domingo from his performance in the film Rustin at plus 65 to 1. So a pretty far down underdog there. You bet $1, you win 65. Yikes. Jeffrey Wright. Same story here for American Fiction at plus 65 to 1 as well. So they share a odds similarity there. Now we go down. We decrease in odds here with Bradley Cooper for his performance in Maestro at plus 14 to 1. And then as an underdog, but only ever so slightly, Paul Giamatti for The Holdovers at plus $2.50 to 1, meaning Cillian Murphy for his performance in Oppenheimer as Oppenheimer is at minus $3.50 to 1. You have to bet $3.50 to win $1. So a heavier favorite than even Emma Stone is in hers, but not quite the heavy favorite that Christopher Nolan is to win Best Director. Anybody got any fun little things that they want to be bold and say that Cillian's not going to win this? Because I'm not going to be that person. I think he is going to win this. And honestly, my best performance, my personal one that I probably would pick, I know nobody's going to probably agree with me, is Bradley Cooper and Maestro. I thought that was a tremendous performance.
I think I would love either Bradley Cooper or Coleman Domingo to win.
Yeah,
like
I haven't seen Rustin. That is something.
My favorite performance of these 5, I think, was Coleman Domingo. I think it's the best performance of the 5. Bradley Cooper was amazing. It's a little to direct oneself and somehow be that good is enviable.
Yes, and also one of the few, like Jeffrey Wright, I would argue, does not have this, and every so often you see this in one of these nominees for an actor or an actress, or whenever it's a performance-based award, is that you can there either is or there is not an Oscar moment. Jeffrey Wright, I would argue, does not have one in his film for American Fiction. Paul Giamatti has one in a monologue that he gives time and time again. You can have a couple that you can pick from. It's usually you can you can associate these with whatever they pick whenever you show the little clip that's nominated with them. So, but the one that Bradley Cooper has that I almost want to guarantee you that they put up whenever they show his nominee is whenever he is conducting in this film. That scene is
he did like
astounding.
years
of backwards work to do it, and it freaking shows. It's a one shot. It's amazing. You look at it, it's gripping. It's visually gripping, and of course, there's many other things that you can get lost in, but you're forced to bring yourself back to his performance. It's breathtaking, and it shows. Yeah. It's not just that for the performance. Sometimes there are those, but this is certainly not that. It's not just one event. Cillian Murphy, though. I'm going to be honest. I think he's going to win. And I thought it was a really, really good performance. I just didn't think it was. I think it's going to be a weak win. I just think it.
I have the same opinion as with Emma Stone. Like the movie has so much weight as a whole.
Yes.
That's, I don't know. Like it. I wouldn't say like the actor has so much like.
Yeah, I agree because it's my favorite film of the year. It remains my favorite film of the year, Oppenheimer.
I think that's
and
fair.
At the time I loved his performance, and I can't fault his performance in any way. I really can't.
No, yeah.
But I just think that there's more to Paul Giamatti's role. Yeah. There's more to Coleman Domingo's role. There's more to Bradley Cooper's role. My opinions on Bradley Cooper's performance in Maestro are a little bit colored by my opinions of the film as a whole, because I know he directed it. And so I'm trying not to let that, because the performance, if I really do look at it objectively, is amazing. My favorites would be Coleman Domingo or Paul Giamatti, actually. But yeah, it's hard to argue with the odds. Apparently, Cillian Murphy's the favorite. I'm not furious about it, but I just don't think it's right.
Right. Well, okay, so we all agree Cillian Murphy will probably win this, although we're a little divided on who we think should win this, but I'm glad that Nicole's on the right side of history with me. Okay, one last fun fact before we leave. American Fiction stars Jeffrey Wright and Sterling K. Brown, who played brothers in Cord Jefferson's directorial debut about the publishing machine, race, and artistic identity. But when they arrive at the Oscars on March 10th, their respective honors will be linked in a historic bond unlike any other. That's because together it is the first time Black actors in the lead and supporting category, respectively, have been nominated for their work on the same film. Additionally, alongside Coleman Domingo's lead actor nomination, Wright is now just the 22nd Black actor nominated in the category, and he could become just the 6th ever to win it. Brown, meanwhile, is just the 19th Black actor to be nominated in the supporting actor category, with the possibility of becoming only the 8th to win. So a lot of heavy history there, even though I don't think any of us are thinking that Jeffrey Wright has a shot. But say la vie. All right, now the biggest category of them all in both nominee field and, of course, importance to many, including the general public. The Best Picture. Starting from the bottom, then we'll be here at the top, even though I think we all know what's at the top. Maestro, we just talked about Bradley Cooper's fantastic performance, is at plus 100 to 1, one of the biggest long shots you can find on the betting odds. Plus 100 to 1. You bet $1, you win 100. So if you have any thought of that winning, go get it now. Past Lives is at plus 80 to 1. Now we start to get more into the realm of closer but not there. At plus 55 to 1 is American Fiction. Martin Scorsese's epic of the year, plus 50 to 1 of Killers of the Flower Moon, far lower than I would have thought. Barbie is at plus 35 to 1. Anatomy of a Fall, very close at plus 33 to 1. The Zone of Interest, coming in on the 4th spot overall at plus 25 to 1. Poor Things, holding the 3rd spot of favorites at plus 13 to 1. And number 2... Excuse me, I'm sorry, I misplaced them. At number 3 is The Holdovers at plus 15 to 1, and Poor Things is at number 2 at plus 13 to 1. And of course, at the top, the favorite to win it all for the best film and quite possibly sweep a lot of the categories is Oppenheimer at minus 13-1. Minus 13-1, meaning you have to bet 13.
To be minus in a category like this is, wow.
Yeah. So you have to bet $13 to win $1. Certainly against a field this full, that is a heavy favorite. Here, let's go with this. I think there's not one of us, especially with the favorite that much. It feels like a certainty that Oppenheimer will win this. I think we all agree on that. Is it everybody's consensus, though, that it's their favorite film? Let's start with you, David, since I know that you've already admitted that this is a favorite. Has your thoughts changed seeing some of the movies recently?
So we've talked about the acting performances, and perhaps they're like Cillian Murphy's performance didn't need to carry the film as much, blah, blah, blah. All that goes out the window because we're looking at everything as a whole, how it comes together, the score, the production design, the sound design, everything, acting, directing. It's my favorite film of the year. I think it's a masterpiece. It is it's in my top films of all time. I've added it to that list. It's definitely up there. I've seen it I went to go see it multiple times in IMAX because, we don't have actual IMAX. We don't have access to that here. But I went to go see it in our IMAX, and the closest thing we get to it. And it's just astounding. I love the film. I've seen all the films in the category. I liked a lot of them. I love The Holdovers. It made me want to cry. Killers of the Flower Moon. That was the one that I thought might overtake Oppenheimer for you. Killers of the Flower Moon is a heart-wrenching film that I really like. It was too long, but it was really good. Anatomy of a Fall. Didn't expect to like it as much as I did. So there's a lot of great films in this. There's also a few things that don't belong, for sure. But Oppenheimer is my favorite for sure. Definitely.
Nicole, are you going to be brave and be the one to say that Barbie should win Best Picture of the Year?
No, I don't think so. I wish it was Anatomy of a Fall, to be honest. But that's
your favorite of the year. Yeah. It sounded like you've given it a lot of love over this.
I really like also this type of movies. Like, it's so human. It's all like, it's not about, I don't want to give spoilers, but like,
I was going to say,
like, it's just
clever.
No, it's just like how the storyline affects this main character and her son, and it's just so like, also the kid actor, it's amazing. Like, everything, it's good. I also don't have editing makes it seem great. Like, you go from one scene to the other, also very smooth and nice. But Oppenheimer is amazing as well. Like, it's incredible. It has a great sound design. It has a great score. It has amazing performances, directing. Like Christopher Nolan, he's amazing. So I do think it should win, and it will win. But Anatomy of a Fall, I think I like it more as a personal opinion because that's the type of cinema that I love to watch.
I've said it before. I think the fault of Oppenheimer, the only fault, is the gray hair from that one guy late in the movie where he's like in the Oval Office. And they made one of the characters look old by spraying his hair gray, and the makeup team f***ed up slightly there, and it didn't look very good. And that's the only fault that I have with the entire film.
That's funny. So if and when the Academy goes to I didn't even look. Are they nominated for hair and makeup? I'm sure they are. They've been nominated for everything.
I don't think so.
So anyways, so that would be one that David adamantly disagrees with if they were nominated.
Yeah.
All right.
He'll be like, no, they f*** up.
Oh yeah, they are nominated for makeup and hairstyle. Yeah. They won't win that one.
They won't. Yeah.
They shouldn't.
David will be the lone person who is both elated by them winning Best Film and hate that they won Best Makeup.
He's going to be like, this is fair and unfair at the same time.
At the exact same time. So I can see throughout this entire list of nominees, I can see the ghost of movies past where each one of these have won. Outside of maybe Barbie and American Fiction, those two are new for very different reasons. Barbie very rarely has the blockbuster film won. Some would argue Titanic, but that became a blockbuster actually after its Academy Award success. American Fiction is new. It's very clever and it's written well, but it feels almost like a novel itself that you're just seeing unfold on page, and not even like Little Women, just very clever and very much about the writing. And so a lot of the story is happening and you have to follow it, and it's very intellectual and it's very deep. So they're both different. But a lot of these, you've seen iterations. The Holdovers feels like it would have won the Academy Awards in the late 70s because it's the best version of that, and that as it is. Had Everything Everywhere All at Once not won everything last year, I think Past Lives would have been probably nominated and propped up a little further up than it has, because that is my favorite movie of the year. I never even thought that would get nominated. Past Lives, I love that film. Again, maybe that's because I so closely identified with it.
I loved it too.
I enjoyed it so much.
I'm surprised that tickled you so much, Philip.
Yes, it touched me. I very closely identified with that film. It is now a favorite. It's the best version of what A24 is and can be, and I hope that they continue to be as they are going more towards a blockbuster film. On the flip side of that, and I just want to make a note of it, I absolutely hated. I despised The Zone of Interest. Those are 2 hours that I cannot get back of my life. Look, I think I knew that David
I was so wondering
which was the one I hated.
Which film? Because you teased this 2 weeks ago. Last time we recorded.
Yes,
I was so wondering. This is surprising me.
I usually love A24, and I love me a foreign film. This has nothing to do with that. I love me some subtitles. Give me all those subtitles. I can read and enjoy a film as much as it is. This film was freaking boring, and I get it. I understand. That's part of the point. The point of the freaking film is that it's so benign and it's just so normalized, and how can something so evil be normal? I get it. But that doesn't mean I now have to endure being bored and just be then said it's art. That'd be like saying like an art exhibit is just, hey, go inside this room and sit still. And the art piece is called silence. And then I'm just like, oh, how freaking interesting. I'm finding something artistic about just enjoying and being in it. No, I don't want to sit in a room for 25 minutes, let alone 2 hours, and just be depressed and just have nothing to see. And like I'm supposed to get excited over them going to a freaking creek. Oh, that's kind of, yes, I get it. There's nuances and just like the simplicities in that it all. No, it's boring. Zone of Interest, the heavy source material.
So we didn't introduce this. This is the part of the episode where we are going to identify a film across the 5 categories that we've discussed that straight up does not belong. That is an imposter. This is the imposter section. Yeah. Philip, what's your imposter?
I wonder.
Zone of Interest. This is the art. This is the freaking the worst of the
across Best Picture and Best Director. I'm guessing.
No, but Best Director.
Okay, so just Best Picture.
Just as a Best Picture, this is such bull. Yeah. This is the Academy at its worst, when it's like, we're just so high refined. We're going to be eating our cheese while we watch this film and our DVD from SAG. Like, it's freaking ridiculous that they just brought this on. There's so many other artsy films that were far more qualified. Bull on Zone of Interest. They're sucking their own cheese curds is what they're doing whenever they nominated this film, Zone of Interest. David, did you have one that didn't belong?
Did I? I had Barbie in this because there was a lot of controversy. Everyone was like, Margot Robbie wasn't nominated, Greta Gerwig wasn't nominated. I don't think Barbie deserved the nominations that it got. Even Ryan Gosling, I don't think the role was that nuanced, you know? I thought he did it very well. I think everyone did their role very well in the movie. I just don't think the movie was that good. You know, it was fun. And it made a lot of money for a good reason because it had a message and whatever, and it was a fun movie. But I don't think it was that profound. The movie was largely making fun of itself, you know. Sure. I don't know. I didn't appreciate any nuance in that. But that's not my film. You know me. I like to steal a couple minutes to talk about something that's not the point that I'm trying to make. American Fiction. Oh my God,
that's fascinating.
Okay.
It did not feel like nominated film when I watched it. I had no idea it was nominated even up for nominated.
Several categories that I think are BS. It's a nice idea. I like the idea a lot of the film. I even like the clever ending that the film has. Like, I like the way that they did the ending. The execution on the entire front of the film, from the script all the way to the editing and the camera work is not very well executed. I thought it felt like the script was a first draft. It felt like the actors were only given one take. It felt like the camera was only given one take. Like they didn't find anything that interesting to do with the camera. Yeah, I'm surprised at both the acting nominations. I felt like Sterling K. Brown as a supporting actor, not that there was anything wrong with his performance. He just wasn't in it much. Like his character had
with you on that one.
It's a supporting role, sure, but there was zero arc to his character. There was a huge arc for Jeffrey Wright, but for Sterling K. Brown, his character really didn't have much of an arc. He didn't have any growth from point A to point B. The movie felt like it was a combination of 20 different first drafts, first takes. I can't believe it was nominated in as many categories as it was, if any.
American Fiction stands alone in my personal history as the lone film I've ever seen where preceding the film, I watched a trailer for the film. American Fiction showed up as one of the trailers going into the film, and I was actually quite disappointed. Yes, I have no idea how that happened. I'm sitting there with my sister watching this film, and lo and behold, I thought it was a joke. I was like, are they doing? No, this is actually the trailer, because there was a trailer after that. I was like, I've never seen this. It actually made the experience worse, because a lot of the stuff I had forgotten from the trailer was like fresh in my mind. So I'm now watching this knowing some of the slight twists that I had forgotten prior to the trailer. So it's historic for me.
Where'd you watch it? Regard. AMC or
a local movie chain that certainly has the opportunity to sponsor the podcast, and I will then name them at that point in time. But no, not AMC. Nicole, quickly, did you have anything that you felt was offensively nominated this year in any category?
I kind of agree with both of you. Like the two things that I don't think deserve Best Picture award are American Fiction and The Zone of Interest. I said The Zone of Interest was a good idea, it was just poorly executed, and it should not be nominated for Best Picture.
As a short film, it would have been much better as a short film.
And then also the sound design could have been good if it was made well, properly made. Really it was just like, oh yeah, of course, it's a great idea for sound design, and also it was a good idea of a movie, just poorly executed.
And it is nominated.
Which I will be very angry if that wins. I will be incredibly
Oppenheimer
upset.
has to win that one as well.
I also agree with that. Yeah, with American Fiction, it just seemed like I could tell that I was watching a movie. It was like everything was there put on the screen for me, and I couldn't go in. It felt staged. It felt very obvious that there was someone directing, that they weren't actually feeling the things that they were doing. Like I could see the making of it.
I also think that if you're going to do farce, you have to lean into the farce. And a lot of American Fiction was farcical. You know, you have to lean into it. And it really only touched into the farce and then sort of tried to ground it in reality again. And it was a duality that sort of wasn't working for me.
My biggest takeaway from that film was when I left, I had no inkling, no thought that was a Best Picture nominee. I had not even seen the publishing. And then when the nominees came out, I had to do a double check. I was like, I hadn't seen American Fiction. Wait a minute. I have seen that. What? That was nominated? So that's my biggest thing. So, all right. We both have our things. We all think Oppenheimer's going to win big this year. All right. Last little fun fact. Yeah, you're rooting for it. You're the only one. No, I'm kidding. It's fine. It'll stand the test of time rather well. Speaking of movies that didn't deserve it, I thought it would only be touching that our fun fact comes from Zone of Interest. A24's Zone of Interest not only racked up a number of key nominations, including Best Director and Best Adapted Screenplay, but also it earned nods in the Best Picture category. Its honors in the Best Adapted Screenplay and Best Picture put it in small company as just the 9th ever non-English language film nominated for both awards. It was preceded by Z, made in 1969, Life is Beautiful, nominated in 1998, Crouching Tiger, Hidden Dragon in 2000, Amour, 2012, me and David's very much discussed and very differing opinions on Roma in 2018, Parasite in 2019, Drive My Car in 2021, and All Quiet on the Western Front in 2022. All right, the Oscar Spectacular 4. Our main topic is done. We hope you enjoyed the Oscars, as we will certainly be watching. Hopefully there's no controversy within the show of any slapping. I think this will be the first year that we can finally see no jokes about slapping. I think that this will be the first year, because last year was, you remember when that happened last year?
I don't know.
They might.
Don't challenge Jimmy Kimmel.
Okay. As the wolf howls, we are bringing this episode to a close, but we have a few thank yous to get to before we do.
Yeah, thank you to Cass and Crossland and Jake Corlang for the music you hear on the show.
Thanks to Ryan Ardell and Josh Hans for a lot of the audio bits you hear throughout the entirety of the show.
And thank you to Rudy Chalk for his graphic design work that you get to see on all of our socials and everywhere that we are found streaming.
And thank you to you, Nicole, for joining us for this. You certainly were a big help. We appreciate it. But of course, a biggest and our best thank you to you, the listener. Yes, you listening right now, for tuning in. Make sure to go listen to or go find us on our Instagram, on YouTube. By the time this comes out, we are fully caught up. Holy macaroni. What an odyssey I had to do in order to get that up. But we are finally caught up on YouTube. Go listen to it all. Put it on in the background while you're working. It doesn't matter. Just listen to it. Watch it. It's beautiful. Very proud of it. Love it. Of course, you can find us on everything pretty much across the board as Roast and Toast Pod. Just search for us there. You'll find us. We're good. We're on Apple Podcasts, Google, YouTube, everywhere you see us except for Pandora. Why? Because screw you, Pandora.
I didn't kill my husband, and he didn't commit suicide. A bear pushed him out of the top floor window.